Here we are. Here we are. So I'm just going to turn it right around. So today, because I can't. Okay, it won't be the debacle of last week. She says with confidence. That's my new phrase. Actually, it's not new. I've been saying it for years. She says with confidence, it will not be a debacle. We are here live at the beach, right? Doesn't get much better than this. So I thought I'd share Southern California while I can. Right there we are. Sorry about that. So, not sure Doug will be here. We will see. We shall see. But we have ocean, so there's that. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to turn around because you don't need to look at me when you can look at that, right? It's pretty great. So let's see how we can do this. So today we're going to talk about when things go awry. Can't imagine where I came up with that topic, right? So say hello if you're here so I can see that you are watching. Hi, Bonnie. Nice to see you. I don't have any plans to leave today and go to my personal page, so that's a plus in the right direction. So, yeah. Welcome to Southern California. Traveling, stopped, just thought this would be a really great place to do the live today so you guys can see. It's actually really hot out here, which is very unusual, especially this time. Well, actually, no, October is typically a hot month in California. So, anywho, Southern California. So, I also, last week I started to mention, and I never really got to it, that I wanted to thank Larry. I don't see him on here yet, but he suggested that we create a place for all the handouts so that you guys can find them easily. And so we are going to do that. Hi, Paula. Good to see you. So we are definitely going to do that. We will put them on the website. I haven't set it up yet, but I will do that very, very soon. It's on my list. Someday, I don't know, would that be a good topic? Our task list? Well, I think tasks are a good topic in general, but would be interesting. Yes, so I know that, we're going to talk about that. I know that some people never found me. I'm going to go through what happened, but I did post a complete replay of the whole thing. So look for the circus curtain on the video, and that's kind of your clue. I did go ahead and edit it back together again so that you could see Kathy and all of the information that she had to give. She actually ended up giving. It just was a bit of a debacle. So, hi, Cindy. Good to see you. Hi, Elaine. Nice to see you. So it is there, and you can check it out. So it got me thinking. Okay, so let me look at my notes here. So last week, as you know, was a bit of it was interesting. Let's put it that way. I had another announcement I wanted to make here too. Looking at my notes, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, I knew there was something else. Sorry, I wanted to look at my notes real quick. I knew there was something else I wanted to mention before we got into it. Yes, I'm glad that I was able to at least get it to you, even though, and we had a good group going, and that was a shame last week. But the other thing I wanted to mention, so if you scroll through the Hollywood Gatekeepers group, and if someone, since Doug isn't here, if someone could share this into the group, that would be swell. Let me know that if anyone's able to do that. You just hit share, and then it should say pick a group, and you should be able to pick it. So if you scroll through we're posting this from the page. We like to do that because you can't share from a group out. You can only share from a page out, and we don't want to prevent people we want people to be able to share this if they would like. So, and then it lives in the group after it's been up for a little while. Then we only keep it in the group for our members of the Facebook group. So if you look in that group, you'll see there's a lot of posting. We have a few rules about posting. I just wanted to kind of go through those really quickly. We don't typically allow Facebook Lives. Every great once in a while, we'll kind of let one live for a little while if it seems sort of like incredibly creative or there's something sort of unique about it. If someone's just kind of rambling about things that have nothing to do with movies or Hollywood Gatekeepers, we typically take that down. If someone's blatantly trying to sell something, especially if it's not related at all to movies at all, we definitely take that down. If there's been people trying to sell real estate or whatnot, we definitely take that down. And then if anybody's just blatantly self-promoting, we don't allow those either. And the reason that we don't really do Facebook Lives is when we want to make sure that you guys get these trainings. And if our page gets loaded up with all kinds of Facebook Lives, it'll be hard to find the trainings. And those are the most important thing, we feel, while you're here, we hope. And then the other thing is that it just jams up the feed. So every once in a while we'll leave one up if it if it's kind of cool and creative, but we don't leave them up forever. But I also kind of wanted to, the great thing about the group, and I'm going to give you an actual exercise that you can use with the group today, is that you can, it's a bunch of people who love movies and love reading and love everything. So you can feel free to reach out, ask for people to do things. However, especially for those of you screen readers out there, we also want to make sure that there's lots of reciprocity. So where if you are asking someone to read things, you actually volunteer to read things as well. So it's not just, you're feeding off other people doing work for you. One of the things that we really want to teach in here is, thank you, Cindy. One of the things that we want to kind of help readers learn is how not to constantly read for free, because a lot of people will be asking you to do that. So how do you set your boundaries? How do you, as you're learning, there's so many, and if you think it's a good opportunity, or if it's someone, if you think there's and we'll do a whole topic on that actually, about knowing your value and deciding, making conscious choices about what you choose to do and not do. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there in the group in general, that it's very much, we really, really encourage sharing for sure. So if you have something you want to share, have at it. And we'll kind of guide you along the way as well. If we feel like, go ahead and you could message us too. If you have something that you would like to post and you're not sure, feel free to message us. And typically, Doug handles most of it, but typically if we see something that's kind of questionable, we will send a message to the person and just say, hey, we're thinking this or that about it. And then we definitely want to be open. We don't want to censor people, but we also want to make it as best for the entire group as we can. And as the group grows, we're over 4,000 members now, that gets harder and harder to do. So we are trying to stay on it. So I just kind of wanted to review those a little bit so that as you use the group, it becomes a really great tool for you, that we're really, really passionate about that. So I just wanted to cover that really quick before we dive into last week. So yes, so those of you that were here last week, we had a special guest, Kathy Varek, and she is amazing. She was amazing. And so if you haven't watched the replay, definitely look for that circus curtain and watch. You can fast forward if you want. I debated about it. I even asked Doug what he thought. Should I cut out all the hoopla and hoorah? And then we decided to leave it, in part because of what I'm going to talk about today, but also because it just it's sort of the nature of the group, and it's kind of silly and fun and whatever, and we're trying not to take life too seriously. But feel free to, fast forward. The good stuff is when you see Kathy come on, then that gets into the good stuff. She is amazing. I'm learning so much from her, and I know book authors, and I've worked, obviously, I've read a lot of books in terms of looking for books to turn into screenplays. And the week before that, we had done adaptation, where we talked pretty deeply about that. But she comes on, and man, she just gives you so many tools and so much knowledge and so many things. If you have a book in you, she's just she's your gal. She knows her stuff. So she gives away some really good things, including a handout that's also posted. The link to that handout is posted in last week's replay as well. So, I was really excited to have her on board, and of course wanted to appear I'm going to crack myself up already, that I wanted to appear pretty professional, like I have my stuff together. And luckily, she and I met. I take a lot of courses, and she and I met in a mastermind group. And so we've actually formed our own mastermind now with her and myself and Doug and 2 other people. And so that mastermind is growing, and we meet just once a month, and we kind of help each other with our businesses. But she's just clearly has it going on. So we even practice during the day how to bring her on via Facebook Live, because we've done that a little bit with our screen readers, but we haven't done it too often. And now we've moved to a different program. So I thought, okay, let's refresh. So it went perfectly in the afternoon. And so I went, and then I'm traveling, and I was in a hotel, and I had that hilarious curtain, and I thought, oh, this is too good to pass up. I'm just going to do it from here. And since I'm going to do it from here, I'll do it from my desktop, because it'll be better internet. The whole thing will be better, right? Yeah. Well, you can't bring people onto Facebook via your desktop. You can only do that on a mobile. So for those of you, some of you experienced this live, but so we ended up not being able to bring her on. So then we switched off in order to come over to the Facebook page so that I could bring her on. But what I didn't realize, and when you watch the video, you'll see it takes me forever. I'm so dense. It takes me forever to realize that I'm on my personal page. And the reason I realized it is because I had friends from all walks of life popping up in the feed. It's really pretty mortifying, but it was also pretty hilarious because it was like friends from high school and then some agents that I know. And I was like, what do you do? I didn't know you were following the business side of everything. And it just took me like a ridiculously long amount of time. And then the really funny part was that some of you know this, but I'm involved in the haunt business too, and I've run a haunted house, and so there were a lot of my haunter friends getting on. And I'm sure that they were getting on because this year we aren't doing our haunt. They saw me go live, and they saw that curtain, which has a very haunt feel to it. And I think they thought I was going to do an update about our haunt. They had no idea I'm even doing this, I don't think. I mean, I don't combine those worlds too much. So it was just, clearly a major debacle. And the really classic part about it was that I just did not get it until finally one of the haunters said, you're on your personal page. That's why we're seeing this. So, and then finally Kathy found us. Doug helped Kathy find us, and we were able to continue on. And I debated about getting off of there and starting again, but at that point it was just getting super embarrassing and really ridiculous. So I want to apologize for that. Was like really crazy. Hi Larry, we were just talking about you. Shh, don't tell him. And then 2 and I forgot my 1. It just ended up being a really the other thing is I wanted to thank you for your sense of humor, because everybody was being pretty great about it. And then I know that I saw a post later like, where did they go? Where did they? Thank you, Larry. I really appreciate your forgiveness. And then the classic thing, we do our Hollywood Gatekeepers group. We have a couple different ways of learning. So in here we have our free group, and then we have our mailing list, and we have we do free trainings, and we do a lot of free stuff. And then we do have a paid course, and then so we do a weekly thing with them as well, which is right after this one. Last week it was anyway. And so that was the other thing, was that it was going to bump up against the next time. So then we did the second one and it didn't record. We typically record that one and it didn't record. So it just was not a good day. I don't know what my horoscope was that day. It should have been just stay in bed. So I wanted to thank you guys for your sense of humor and your patience. And I'm glad I was at least able to get the replay up so that you could at least get the information, because the information was really good in spite of my wazzy delivery. But so we started thinking about, what else could we do today? Like what might be some good topics. And I had a topic planned, and I decided to instead kind of go with this whole thing of what happened last week, because I think some interesting things came of it. And so I think there's a bigger lesson in that. And so a couple things that came out of that. One, it really did, Kathy was such a great sport, and it really did actually solidify our relationship in a way, because I was so apologetic to her and so thankful. There's my notes. I just put that in front because the sun's in my eyes. Wait, I can't see. There's a great thing for you to look at. Good Lord. Pardon me. Okay, wait. Okay, there we go. But some really other great things. See that I'm in SoCal, baby. It's a beautiful day. Anyway, squirrel, ocean. Was one of the things that happened that I really didn't expect. One, like I said, it solidified and really kind of deepened my relationship with Kathy, because she was such a good sport about it. And then, but there were a bunch of friends of mine that I had no idea, like they didn't even really know that I'm doing this to this degree, and they're not part of Hollywood Gatekeepers. And so now they are, and a couple of people ended up kind of following Kathy. So definitely check her stuff out. She has Get a Book Deal 101, and she's really fantastic. I can't say enough great things about her. So definitely you should check her stuff out, because she really helps people kind of take their idea from having a book into total Facebook bloopers. Cindy, she really helps people get your book, and get your ideas and how do you get a book out there. And she covers both fiction and nonfiction, and she's really, really great. So her website is getabookdeal.com, and I'll put that in the notes here as well. And she's also she gave a free handout last week. So go ahead and look for the circus curtain. And then you'll see I've edited the first video, which was just a total debacle of me telling circus stories that I thought were funny, and then realizing, oh wait, we've got more things to deal with here. And then you'll get her on my personal page with all my friends. So you get to see my friend's mom from grade school. It was interesting. Anyway, so the other thing that it also came out of it was, it really did solidify this group. And it's just one thing that we are constantly pleased and surprised about with this whole experience is how wonderful everybody is, and how much fun we're having, and how much we want to help people get your screenplays done. And We did. We did do the lesson. Yes, we did. And it was good. She was amazing. So definitely look for that replay. So it's up. It's definitely on the Facebook page. I believe it's in both, though. And it says replay on it. So you can see I did it onto the Facebook page, and then I shared it into the group. So you should be able to get to it. And she really was amazing. And I felt really bad because we had a pretty good group going, and we ended up losing everybody. So thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for coming back. Not giving up on us altogether. But one of the things that really came out of it that was really interesting was just kind of the idea of this concept of when things don't go the way that you planned. And I mean, that's life, Life is what happens when we're busy making plans, right? So what ended up happening is I ended up getting more people, and actually a couple people of my friends ended up kind of following Kathy, and now one in particular she's definitely going to be writing a book, which she has a book in her for sure. So I'm really happy to see that happen, and that never would have happened if we hadn't have had that debacle. So we call this happy accidents, and we talk about this in our business a lot. And I know I say this a lot, but as we grow and as we do these online businesses, Doug and I have been taking many courses, and we've been meeting a lot of people in this world. And it seems that every single lifeguard, every single group that I join, every single course that I do, they talk about mindset. And what a beautiful day and perfect setting for this conversation. But they talk about mindset being the most important thing. Within our course and within our trainings, we do a lot about mindset because it has such a big thing to do with all of it. And I've worked with many Oscar winners. I have friends that are Oscar winners, and it is amazing the difference in mindset with the people that have that level of success and the ones. I also work in theater where a lot of people are struggling and doing a lot of live theater, and I see, there are things, there is fate, luck, whatever you want to call it. There are things that happen to you. 10% of life, I believe, is things that happen to you. 90% is how you respond to the things that happen to you. And so there are many stories where things went awry, and I have a really great one that I share every once in a while about a friend of mine who mistakes that are meant to be. I love that. Exactly. And I have a friend of mine who was acting on Broadway. He was kind of just getting started. And this is years ago, 20 years ago. And he was getting big, bit parts, and he was pretty excited. And then he got offered he was understudying, and then they said, okay, we're going to put you in this major role on Broadway. It would have been his kind of big break. And so he shows up the day that he's supposed to step in, and they changed their mind and decided to get someone that had a name, because at the time he didn't have a name. And of course he was devastated. So he was like, oh, forget it. This is, I don't even know. He was just so devastated. So he talked to his agent, and his agent said, well, his agent, well, it was a debacle scene because he showed up. The agent thought that there was kind of, people dropped the ball. The agent thought they were going to call him. They thought the agent was going to call him. So he didn't know. He actually showed up thinking he was going to do it. And then they were like, what are you doing here? Because no one had called him. Yeah, nice. So he talked to the agents, and the agent said, well, you did get offered this touring company. And, and he was like, you know what? I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do the show with the touring company. So he left that show, and he got onto a touring company. And within the first week of the touring company, he met his wife, and they ended up dating and getting married, and now they have 2 children, and they've been married for decades, and major, obviously big deal for him. So you never know what those happy accidents might be, and I just love that story because it's such a great one. And she, meanwhile, she had auditioned for that touring company show many times and had kept getting called back and then not getting in. And finally she said, okay, the last time she got called back, she said, okay, if I don't get in this time, forget it. I'm not going to come on to these auditions for this particular touring company anymore. And then they cast her. So both of them had these kind of wazzy stories getting into that show. And if she had been cast in an earlier version, she probably would have been out of the show by the time he got there. So just, you never know. So I just love that story because it's such a great one, because those are such major life decisions, right? I mean, and the Facebook Live from the other day doesn't at all fall into that category. It's just kind of a moment that happens. But I wanted to give you kind of a little exercise, because one of the other things that's happening is that we are now in, mid-October, and holidays. Here come the holidays, and here comes New Year's, and here comes all our goal setting, and here comes all these things that we start to think about at the end of the year. And it made me, we do some of these exercises every great once in a while, and I thought this would be a good time for it. So I'm going to give you a handout, as always, but in the handout, so here's what we want to, what I kind of want to take you through, and then actually we're going to do this, and then I'll kind of apply it also to writing and screenplays and characters and that kind of thing. We've decided when we do these mindset things that we really do want to try to really get the mindset stuff across, because honestly, working as a reader and working with so many kind of big personalities, being able to kind of laugh at things and be easy about it all just makes such a huge difference, because we're talking millions of dollars with these these decisions and these movies and that kind of thing. And so the more that you can kind of be chill about it, the better it is for everybody. And sometimes it can be really hard, and sometimes there's a lot of egos involved. And so we want to try to do these mindset exercises to get you in a good space, so that when you do start working with writers and when you do start doing this stuff, it will really, it'll be second nature and a lot easier for you. Mindset things and angst and ego and those kind of things are just, there's such a base for all of this, and they can really trip you up if you don't have them kind of in check. So one of the exercises we'd like to do, we call it a reflection reframe, basically. And so what I'd like you to do, and then we'll also give you a handout for it, but if you happen to have a piece of paper or something to write with or whatever, go ahead and jot down. So we're getting towards the end of the year, and you're going to start figuring out what you want to do next year. Woohoo, holidays, yay! And so I want you to kind of go back over this last year, and for one, write down all the wins, like all the things that went well, all the things that you accomplished, because I don't think that we spend enough time really patting ourselves on the back, really looking at, wow, I did that thing. Sometimes, and I've done this with friends where they write the list down, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you don't even realize what you kind of are doing or accomplishing on a daily basis. So if you take a second just to write that stuff down, plus you're writers, and the more that you reflect, the more that you write this kind of thing, the deeper, I feel this pretty strongly, the deeper that your characters and that your screenplays will be. The more that you write about your own life, and the more that you study yourself and your own character, the more your characters are going to have depth and knowledge, and they'll be more authentic and genuine too. So go ahead and write down, what are the things that happened that you would consider wins or successes, or however you want to look at that. And then go down and write down all the things that you feel that weren't wins, or they were challenges or failures, or however you want to look at it. I wish I... Oops. Pardon me, dropped my microphone. I wish there's a saying that's something about how you get better through experiences. Failures become experiences, and the more experiences you have, the better your life is, or something like that. Only it's funnier. Nicely done, Carolyn. Classic. I'll try to find that for you, because that was not it at all. But I do feel that even sometimes it's hard to see when you're in the weeds and you're in the thick of some even tragedies. Things can come out of tragedies that you never in a million years would have thought of. And so if you can kind of go back now and look at what you might call your losses or failures or challenges, or however you want to look at it, and then go back through both and sort of reframe. So that's why we call it reflection reframe, where you're looking at the things, the struggles, the challenges, and what came out of those, kind of like my friend in the story I told about meeting his wife, like what maybe might not have happened if that hadn't have happened. Like with the debacle of last week, it gave us this topic for one thing, which I think is awesome. And it also deepened the relationship with Kathy. And I think now she's, we actually came up with more things to partner on, and some tools that we can get in together to give to you. So it's going to end up creating more content for you, which is fabulous, and just more, almost said more better, because I have really good grammar, and it just created more better things. Classic. It's a good thing you can't see me. And then, and then I also found these authors of friends of mine that I didn't even know were authors, and just, a lot of great things came out of it. And then we ended up finding a couple more tools on what we can use for these Facebook Lives when we want to bring someone in. So there were a lot of cool things that came out of it. So what are some of the reframes that you might do so that next time you can have next time you have a moment where you feel like, oh, you're super stressed out, or this is something that I don't know that I can deal with this, where you can stop and whatever you need to do, put your head between your legs, lay down for a minute, take a nap, walk, go for a walk, pet your cat, get your head reframed in a different space so that you can maybe start to see those things before while you're in the midst of the challenge or whatever. And that it kind of helps you maintain a sense of humor. We did maintain a sense of humor throughout the whole thing, but I did, even though I was laughing, kind of maintaining a sense of humor, I still take it seriously that I want to present the best things I possibly can for you guys. So I was pretty embarrassed and pretty mortified that it was going down like that. And, so there's two sides to it all, but it actually became a really cool thing. So then how can you use this, as a way to kind of inform your writing? And one of the things to look at, so if you're writing characters and you're writing screenplays and you have these characters, to look at how are they handling their challenges. Are they resisting? So one of the things that we see a lot when we try to do these exercises, and as we take these courses, I can't stress enough how every single course that I take, and these are from people that are, have these really big businesses, they all stress this mindset stuff, like big, huge. And so what are, and it is amazing though how many people will resist this kind of talk. They don't even want it. They just want, give me the, what is the inciting incident? What are my plot points? How do I write a coverage? All of that is all well and good, but really if you don't have the kind of base of being able to handle stress, then none of it will really matter in the long run anyway. That's going to be the biggest challenge, is handling the stress of work, handling the stress of all of it. And the more that we can kind of reframe and stop resisting the things that keep us back, that hold us down, that prevent us from writing. If your habit is a whole nother topic, but if you're resisting these kind of challenges, it's very likely that you're also resisting habits of writing and getting your screenplay done or getting your book done or getting your idea done. And we're trying to give you tools to where you can get all that stuff out into the world. And so the more that we can kind of base this with mindset stuff, we think the better off that you will be in the long run. So that's why we kind of are going pretty deep into that. And hopefully, as you watch the replay of this, you can kind of apply this. And again, there'll be a handout so that you can fill it out. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you start a Hollywood Gatekeepers journal, and so that you can start doing some of these exercises and keeping them all in one place, so that you can, whatever, 3, 6, quarterly, 6 months, whatever it might be, go back and look and see what you answered in some of the earlier stuff. You will be amazed. You will be amazed at how far you come, where you were at, and plus, I have a writer friend who we're doing his plays for part of my theater company, and he just posted on Facebook that he came across the notes for a play that he was going to write, and they were all of these character things he had completely forgotten about, and they were hilarious. And he's like, "This looks like a good play. I have no recollection of writing this." So the more that it's kind of like writing your dreams down and you don't remember them. And you say, how often have you said as writers? I think we do this a lot, where you say, "Oh my gosh, you can't write this stuff," or "Oh my gosh, I got to write that down. That was a great line," when someone says something ridiculous or whatever. So I really, really, really think, we're trying to give you some Southern California. So I really do think that if you keep a Hollywood Gatekeepers journal and write down these exercises and write down inspirations, and then take a look at this as you go through these exercises, especially the mindset exercises that have to do with reframing, resisting, reflection. It's an R day, I guess. How also does this inform the characters that you're creating? Do they resist? Are they constant? Are they the woo-woo, I'm going to reflect and never do anything, and I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to manifest my world and expect it all just to appear magically in front of me without doing anything? Like, what is their take on it? And it can help you create characters that are far more genuine, that are far more authentic, that people will relate to on a deeper level. And I think it makes writing better, and people will, there's nothing like having someone come up to you after seeing your work, or after, if you've written any plays or done any live reads or anything like that, and have them say to you, "Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah," about whatever it tapped into for them. It's really just fabulous. So, exactly. That's beautiful. Thank you for this moment with all of you. I love this. Exactly. Because then you create moments like this, right? Where we're talking about how you take something that, and I'm really, the thing last week is just a tiny little whatever. It's not even, well, it's not, I was going to say it's not even important. It's just a little blip. It was not like we have, and I've had, and we've all had serious challenges, and I've had tragedies in my life, so it's like, how do you reframe those and not let that thing be the thing? How do you reframe it and let it be, whatever the lesson might be from that, and reframe it into a way where you sit down and you see these beautiful moments of these, sparse beaches or whatever in your life. There's beauty all around us. Like, how do you take those moments and kind of change them into a really great thing? So, and every there's just, it's a whole silver linings playbook, basically, which is also a great movie. But I just wanted to kind of take a minute for all of us to kind of reframe, reflect, and kind of put it all together. So that's a little mindset thing, and especially as we're starting to head in towards the end of the year, when we start to, think about the new year and think about the goals that we're setting and what we might do with those goals. So one of the things we're going to do is start to create handouts and put them in a place where y'all can get them. Thanks to Larry. See? And I just love it. If you guys ever have ideas like that, lay them on us, because we really want to create the best possible place for you guys. So we also have some cool announcements too. We are putting together a brand new training of videos and a brand new workshop. And so the training videos will be released on October 29th. Very exciting. And then the new workshop will be released on November 7th. So big things happening. These are kind of the last trainings of this year. And then next year we're really have some big stuff that we're planning. So we're really super excited about that. So we wanted to make sure that you guys, we'll be talking more about that later, but today's the big announcement day. Woohoo! So just, wanted you to kind of think about that, go back, watch that replay, and then wait. As soon as this one posts, I'll go ahead and post up the link to the worksheet that goes with this, to kind of, hopefully you can print it out and put it in your new Hollywood Gatekeepers journal. And yeah, and then, we also call those reframe moments happy accidents. I mean, that ended up being a happy accident last week. And next week I'll tell a different happy accident story that has to do with haunted houses, since it's, October. So next week we are going to do horror films. Wah, wah, wah. Because the following week, right? Is that the following week already? Is Halloween? Or is there one more? No, that is right. So we'll probably do, we won't do this on Halloween because you're all going to be out trick-or-treating, right? What are we going to go as Halloween? Share your costume. So next week we're going to talk about horror films. So we're going to go from all this beautiful beach woo-woo stuff into horror films, because that's what life is, right? It's all a conglomeration of all of it. So that is it. I'm going to come back on so you can see me, and so I can say mañana. Or mañana? No, adios. That's my Spanish. So thanks, you guys. I want to kind of see you in person, even though I can't see because of the glare. Ugh, the glare. Okay. So thank you guys for your patience last week, for your sense of humor. Wow. And then, for coming back, taking a chance on us coming back this week. And so you can see the beautiful ocean. So that's our gift to you. We just put this ocean together for you. Hope you appreciated that. I just built that myself. And yeah, so that's our thing for today. We will see you next week. We will same bat time, bat channel, where we talk about horror films, like what makes a good horror film. And then Hogwarts student. That's what you're going as. Okay, I get it. Awesome. So I was like, Hogwarts student, poor city. I'm always like, what? And then I go, oh, right, I said that. Short-term memory, sorry. Ocean. So enjoy the ocean, enjoy the session, and we will see you next week. We'll talk about horror films, and look out for those video trainings on the 29th is the first one, and the 7th is the workshop. Woohoo! All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. See you soon. Bye.